Aloha guys, offering a conclusion here to wallpapering in general. When you do a cut like this, essentially you want to go from let's say you're going this way. You always want your blade to be behind this hand, because it might happen to be that if you put it up here and your arm is down here, you could move the blade and cut yourself, right? You could move it and it could cut your arm here, right? And sometimes you gotta like switch, if you're switching hands, position and then cut. This is dangerous stuff. You could mess up yourself, hurt yourself or the paper. And I recommend using like some protection for the arm, because generally if you might cut some certain way, you might cut a vein, and that could be a life-threatening problem. This is professional technical work, and I'm going to explain a few other things about so when you're moving, let's say I wasn't close enough to this edge with this paper, you can kind of push the paper along. You can push it like this and kind of sit it in certain areas. You can even, let's say I cut it short here, you can put a piece like behind it and then kind of try to like cut it, double cut it, and then just kind of fit things in. It depends. Sometimes it's a pattern and it's difficult. With patterned paper, sometimes you have to measure, you have to do it individually as a sheet. Sometimes from one roll to another, the shading or the color changes slightly. So from the factory, you want to double check the consistency of it. If it was one roll, then the roll should be numbered 1, 2, 3, try to go in sequence. And then it obviously gets harder with patterns. Sometimes if a pattern is, let's say a pattern was a monkey, right? If there's a monkey and then you have to match it up to the next sheet, the monkey's, part of the monkey's body, maybe the monkey's 1 foot high, right? And then you'll have to like match it. You'll have to cut a certain amount. So you always want to estimate more than enough than you need, especially with pattern. The pattern could be huge. It depends. And sometimes you have to lay the sheets out on the ground and kind of match the pattern up. Sometimes you have to flip the sheet upside down, alternate one sheet going up the way you pulled it out of the machine, and then one sheet you flip it around from the way it started. It's like, it can get complex, but it's a subtle technical activity at you really just do. Obviously there's more to what I'm saying, but you get the idea, right? And sometimes some paper you have to let it sit on, like this is like professional vinyl they use in hotels. I've done numerous hotels on all of the Hawaiian islands. At least one on each island I've done. And it's a nice, it gives you a product that, sometimes there are areas, and then there's in question the paper. Like this paper is real smooth. The best paper is that, and this is, it has you want some with a random pattern, and it's kind of a neutral color, so it won't look out of style, and also that's maybe a slightly gray or whatnot, so it'll hide dirt better. And this stuff's great. It's tough. This is vinyl. But then you get into these fancy house papers. Sometimes you have to lay the sheet down upside down on the ground like that, and paste it with a roller before, and then let it like sit for a while, because the paper it takes in some of the moisture. Like this is, there's a lot more to it. I'm just giving you some hints. And check out these nice knobs, by the way. I'm just giving you some hints and precautions that it's a technical, it's a technical work. And oh yeah, look at this shower, guys. Look at the size of this shower. Isn't that nice? Very Right. Oh, look at that. It's even got an infinity shower system. This is like top of the line stuff, guys. So I'm glad to have been able to share with you, and you just remember there's a lot. It goes into wallpapering. Talk to the people you bought it from. Look for advice online. You know, it can be harder than it looks. And thanks for joining me. Remember, always when you're using your blade, I retract mine on every single action. So I'll do a cut here, then I'll retract it. I'll do a cut here, then I'll retract it. You know, you really want to have some blade sense as well. So and thanks for tuning in. Remember also what I was saying about the sleeves. I'm gonna buy some sleeves that are cut resistant, so you don't cut, and maybe even like some hole with a finger out gloves so it protects the rest of your hand. You just got to be careful whatever you do. And I like to wash my tools and smoothers frequently. Remember, the smoother, sometimes there's bubbles or whatever's going on. You just work it all around. You know, this stuff can be worked a little. It's slightly malleable, like it can be moved and tweaked a little bit. So, you know. But thanks for joining me. I really am glad to share the wallpapering insights. Aloha.